Hey, Speedy here, back to continue the saga. As per my nickname, it makes sense. I must get to the point. This is to document my journey that I've already actually fulfilled and to share the things I've learned and the experience and the warnings. Don't name something you're not fully in gnosis of what that name truly means. I covered that in the last video. Now, I named my studio vlogs originally The Odyssey. Not because I was doing it randomly, but because I was mantling and embodying what the Odyssey really is. It's the earliest Western example of a true, complete hero's journey. And at one time in history was treated as a Bible to all of Western civilization with good reason. And that reason should be self evident. How many movie makers have remade it? How many storytellers have talked about it? Even Joseph Campbell covered this. The hero's journey, each culture, east, west, north, south, has their own archetype, has their own hero. Odysseus is one of the most important of all of the Western archetypes. Philosophically and metaphysically, he is often considered to be the embodiment of Hermes. Possibly true. Maybe the first documented human mentalist. Because Ithaca was a real kingdom, and in all likelihood, there was somebody from Ithaca who was brilliant and shining beyond reason. He can as well be an amalgamation of many archetypes, coalescing into a singularity with the advancement of our cognitive ability as a species. I don't want to get too highbrow here. It's very easy to do. Want to get into the real meat of this saga. I am a doer. I think I've made that obvious. And I join and align to things that I feel resonate with who I am. One of the things that was very important to me in this entire journey was to make sure that I could be an example, practice what I preach, and I have done that. I want to teach young people that the road to your goals hurt. It hurts. That doesn't mean you need to stop. That means you need to learn how to keep moving forward. Always keep moving forward. Fits my nickname. So I joined a company that's a part of a greater national corporation. I am not at liberty to say its name, but I will say that they carried a motto and a value system that, at least on paper, mirrors my own and is on paper a good fit. And perhaps at a different location, that would have been true and valid. But you see, you have to go on the fool's journey to become the hero of your own story. Again, getting back to alchemy, which gets mistaken as being some kind of mumbo jumbo or spiritualist thing. And there are two people who do interpret it that way, and they're free to interpret anything they want, how they want. I'm not knocking anybody. My interpretation and approach is a Carl Gustav Jung, the father of modern psychology, approach. So there's nothing magical or dazzling about it. It's very grounding to understand the source of your own culture, your own strengths and weaknesses, and how to overcome them. He found it, and I found it through him, but also my upbringing. The old Greco Roman myths and stories were a foundational part of my early life and stuck with me forever. And there's a reason that the Odyssey, though it may be replaced by war and sword and dogma as the biblical foundation of Western civilization, it could not be destroyed or diminished because of the truths it teaches are universal and unshakably true. So I endeavored to go on my hero's journey, and I found myself resonating with a company. And I firmly believe that neurodivergence can work. They have to find the right environment. And I was willing to take the leap of faith to find out if this company, this corporation, was the one that could be an example via me through my digital journey. As any reasonable corporation will do, they have methods, steps, and approaches to get to that point. Their policy is I cannot skip my store managers to reach to corporate directly. I have to go through them. That's part of the challenge of the hero's journey. If there are people who project on you, if there are people who feel outdone by you, even though you're not competing with anybody, you're just being your true, authentic self, you have to be prepared for the fact that their minds cannot conceive of who and what you are and what you're endeavoring to do. And they certainly can't believe it's possible because they themselves have given up and chosen to be a cog in a machine and to become a yes person instead of an individuated human. And I'm not knocking that. That's a reality that you must face. I wanted to share my journey and to show young creatives that the reality of living in America means if you truly want to succeed, you have to build what you dream while keeping a vocation that keeps food on your table. And you should not bite the hand that feeds you. And I never had any intention of doing that. And I do not believe that I am doing that now. I was open to the pertinent managers that were directly connected to me and did my best to follow the chain of command. But it turns out that I ended up choosing a store that had such deep dysfunctions and pathos that would have made my journey not compatible. Meaning that my journey is about becoming your best self. If ultimately that is not the pathos of the store you are in, bringing attention and trying to elevate that store in its district, then in the region, then in the state, then in the nation, would have been a necessary component for my studio to prove that you can chase your dream, pursue your artistic endeavors, and also be the best version of yourself you can be for the company you're working for to help them ultimately reach those higher goals that the corporation itself sets for the entirety of all the stores within it. Again, it gets back to the leap of faith. You have to make that leap of faith. I made a leap of faith. Sometimes you succeed. Sometimes you fail. I do not see my studio as something that requires them. It existed before them. I've had it my whole life, on and off, under different names. Life's a challenge. You got to roll with the punches. But it turns out being my own self hurt the butts of a lot of weak people. But you know what? I know this for a fact. I've also inspired a lot of people to hold on, to build their kingdom of heaven, and to embrace themselves and the opportunities they can achieve. This saga is to document how I worked a full-time job where I tried to build a bridge and tried to make them see I fit their motto to the T. and that we should go on a journey together, and that they can benefit from me being a living example of their motto. I had every intention of spending the rest of my life that was able working for them full time and doing my studio full time. Every intent to do that. They could not see the vision, they could not understand the journey, and they chose to project and continue to be toxic and to play politics and to play games with people's lives for entertainment. They chose to stay in darkness, and I'm not worried about that. That's their business. It's not mine. Everybody has their own journey. I'm on mine. I offer to share it. I offer to use it as a means to elevate all of us together. But I have absolutely no problem in making a choice. And they are currently bullying and forcing me to make a choice. And at the end of the Odyssey saga I am doing here, all will know the results. I will share it with everybody. This brings me back to alchemy, metaphor, symbols, tree of life. An algorithm really is just an example of a tree branch. Everything's an example of a tree branch. The branches of a tree are replicated in your lungs. The branches of a tree and a tree in itself, world trees sometimes referred to, are exactly how algorithms work, how scripts are written. You have many branches that you can go, and this itself has many branches and directions that it can go down. You will see at the end of this saga where it went. I endeavor to do this, being aware of all the different branches and all the different directions that it could go, and was prepared for any of those outcomes. And here I am. I've completed the main bulk of what I was trying to accomplish with my studio, that is, getting it productive and established. And at the moment, I'm at that threshold. This individual company, not the whole corporation, I still believe in it, but this individual company showed its true colors, showed its baseness, its jealousy, its fear, and its lack of ability to grow and become more without being forced by outside forces. Again, not my problem. I came honorable, I came honest, and I came authentic. And I remain that to this day. If it is meant to be, it will be.